The Shanghai Cooperation Meet is set to take place in mid-September in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, while the Russian President Vladimir Putin and Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif are keen to attend the meeting. Clarity is awaited on whether or not Chinese President Xi Jinping will make his debut at the SCO meet after 2 years of skipping in-person meetings due to the COVID pandemic. Prime Minister Modi's office is also yet to confirm the PM's in-person presence in Uzbekistan. However, if the two leaders attend the meeting, there are chances of a Xi-Modi bilateral on the sidelines of the SCO 2022. A host of friction points are likely to be taken up, and if the two leaders meet, from the pending disengagements in the eastern Ladakh sector and border villages by China near Arunachal to China blocking the blacklist of two Pakistan-based terrorists, the issues likely to be discussed in this speculated meeting are multiple, in fact. In this discussion, we talk about the significance of this meeting, possible points of discussion between the two leaders, and the possible outcomes that it may have. We'll talk about some of the best minds in the country. Joining me on the show at this point in time is Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, former diplomat. Also with us on the show is Major General Dhruv Katoch, Strategic and Global Affairs Expert, Director of India Foundation. Sanjay Kapoor, editor of Hard News, Foreign Affairs journalist, also joins us on this much coveted conversation. Arvind Singh, International Affairs expert, joining us on the program as well. And last but by no means the least, a very regular to NewsX, Mr. Sumit Peer, also joins us on the program. Ambassador Mukherjee, when it comes to India and China, the conversations could go on for days, but this is the time to prioritize, ma'am. When the Prime Minister is going to see Xi Jinping, what is he supposed to tell him eye to eye?
First of all, Vineet, it is for Xi Jinping to seek a meeting with our Prime Minister. I'm sure our Prime Minister will not seek a meeting with him. If indeed the Chinese side does seek a meeting, it is only appropriate for the two to meet and to talk because it is important for our Prime Minister to convey politely and firmly to Xi Jinping that, as the Chinese Foreign Minister noted, that the Asian century is only possible with cooperation between India and China. So it follows that the Chinese then should cooperate with India to make it the Asian century instead of the century for India, which is what will happen if the Chinese don't cooperate with us. Secondly, I'm sure our Prime Minister, in case the meeting comes through, will convey a firm message with regard to the line of actual control, with regard to Chinese activities on their side of the border, and also convey concern about the activities on the Taiwan Strait, which our spokesperson has already said. And in case the Chinese raise questions, as they may, about the Quad or about the military exercises that India is conducting with Australia and others, I'm sure that our Prime Minister will explain that the purpose of the Quad is to ensure a rule-based order in the Indo-Pacific. It is for Xi Jinping to deduce why the Quad came into existence, and also to convey the message that India has the right, the sovereign right, to defend itself, and where it cannot defend itself alone, it has the right to do so with alliances and strategic partnerships, just as the Chinese do. So I think it's a very appropriate moment. It would, however, be interesting to ascertain what are the Chinese views on ending the Ukraine conflict, because the Ukraine crisis has now come to a position where actually it inconveniences Xi Jinping's plans, because further weakening of the Russian economy, etc., actually may impact China. So it would be useful, in case the meeting takes place, for both Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping to discuss whether it would be at all possible to find a solution to the end of the Ukraine conflict by the end of this year. That would indeed be interesting conversation if it takes place, and it will take place only if the Chinese side asks for it. We are not going to ask for it. Vineet.
General Katoch, as a defense expert, you closely follow what goes on between India and China. And we have spoken on this platform, sir, multiple times. We have had lengthy conversation. A number of points have been discussed. But when it comes right down, to going to the wire, it is important to make China understand that whatever has transpired in the last couple of years is not going to fly with India. Obviously, a lot of formalities have to be, undertaken and fulfilled before the Prime Minister and Xi Jinping give their go-ahead for this meeting. But as a defense expert, what are India's concerns right now? We have to talk about those villages. We have to talk about the LAC. We have to talk about, the flybys that have taken place in Eastern Ladakh.
Thank you, Vineet. Vineet, I have always felt that China respects strength. And as and when India or any other country with which China deals with show the propensity to weakness, then the Chinese really try to get on their head. So as far as any talk with China is concerned, I'm totally with the ambassador when she has stated that these talks will only take place if Xi Jinping asks for it. They have to ask, we'll accept. Talking is, of course, I'm not against the talks. I'm just saying that I totally agree with the statement that India will not initiate the talks. Should they happen, should both the leaders actually have a physical, actually attend the summit in the physical format, and if Xi Jinping asks for it, all this would have taken place earlier, then yes, the meeting will take place. And I think it is the right opportunity, once again, by which the two leaders can actually discuss core issues. Now, the very first meeting which Mr. Modi had with Xi Jinping, that took place in Gujarat, I think the message which went across from the Indian Prime Minister to the Chinese President was very, very clear that there will be no backing down from the Indian side. You see, the pressure which the Chinese try to put, trying to sort of psychologically destabilize the opponent, it's not going to work against India, not anymore. I think that was over from 2014 onwards. So that is one takeaway which I think they would do well to remember. But I think there are three critical areas from India's side which I think we need to discuss. And there will be one or two areas from the Chinese side which they will be keen on. From the Indian side, of course, it is we want peace on the LAC. But it is conditional. If China continues to keep the troops there, then so will India. We can keep our army and our air force there for as long as it takes. And I think that message has to be given very clearly to them. So if peace has to take place, there has to be de-induction, and we have to get back to the agreed lines which were there existing at 2018 or 2019. Now, they cannot unilaterally keep changing the goalposts. That is going to be unacceptable. And I think that message has already been conveyed to them. So I think this will be a reiteration. And if Xi Jinping so feels that, okay, there is a time now to call it a truce, then they will have to pull back first. Once they pull back, well, we can get back to a different order of functioning. One. Number two, I think China continues to give support to terrorism within Pakistan, to the terrorist state Pakistan, and continues to shield their terrorists. Now, I think that has to be made very clear to them also, that either they can fight together again in the war of terrorism, against terror, or they can be a party to terror. Now, one of the points as far as the SCO is concerned, one of their agendas is also to fight terrorism. So I really don't know how Xi Jinping is going to negotiate the fact that he supports certain terrorists who are within Pakistan, and yet he wants to join the fight against terrorism. But I think from the Indian side, this concern is going to come up. Third, I think where both of them will perhaps look for congruity is Afghanistan, because peace in Afghanistan suits both India and China. How that will play out, we will see, but that conversation may take place. And lastly, I think the conversation is going to take place on Taiwan and India's stand as far as the Indo-Pacific is concerned. India's stand is very clear. The Prime Minister made it very clear, free and open navigation, period. And if the Chinese think otherwise, if the Chinese think that the waters of the South China Sea belong to China, then we will have to tell them it doesn't work that way. The way India doesn't claim the Indian Ocean as India's, China cannot claim the South China Sea as China's. So those will be tricky negotiations, but I think each party will give their viewpoint across. Vineet.
All right. Sumit Peer, what do you think about this? This is important for us. We have to call out China for all the problems that they have caused. And it is not only about, the LAC, it's not only about what they've been doing in Hambantota and Djibouti and other encircling exercises that have taken place, but it's a host of issues. But the fact of the matter is that unless these two leaders will confirm whether to meet or not, these pending issues will linger on for long.
Vineet, thank you very much for having me on your show. So the point is very simple: treachery, deceit, and China synonyms. China is a new name which is added to the English dictionary for that. So the people in the world don't know what it is. The intentions of China are very clear. Unka koi dost nahi hai. They have, they eye everybody's land, ladies, and legitimacy. That is what China does. Let it be from, take your lessons from Tibet, Inner Mongolia, Tajikistan, Pamir Valley, and everyone. Only country with having borders with 10 countries and having disputes with 22 countries. So China cannot be trusted. That is the underlying thing. And after Galwan, everything has changed. They betrayed us in 1962, Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai, then they stab you in the back. And in Galwan, they exactly did the same thing. They called us for a talk and did what they did. But we are getting robust, we are getting powerful, and we are getting very stern. We don't need to talk to China. This Wang Yi came in a commercial plane here. Dr. Jaishankar did not go there. Wang Yi wants and comes to tell us kindly how the business going on. It is Xi Jinping who will need a meeting us with, not us. They did the string of pearls. We did the necklace of diamonds. And necklace of diamonds, we want to have a show on that is much better and much effective as on did. We are ahead of China when it comes to protecting our land and our sovereignty. And now we need, with S-400 being deployed around the Ladakh area, and their S-400 is a S-250 technically, with the 400-kilometer range missile not given to them by Russia, and with Rafale being inducted, they are really shitting in their pants. They would want to have a meeting with us just to buy time. Let's not be fooled. You cannot have tango with the devil. You can buy some time, you can defer the consequences, but only one thing which can protect us from China is our might. Is our army, is our defense. These people do not leave their own kind. They did this great leap forward cultural revolution. They killed 6 crores of their own people, 60 million of their own people in an experiment. Didn't Mao tell Nehru it's okay if a few million people die? That is a documented history. So you are talking to a people who are okay to kill even their own people in experiments. So how do people like you and me stand a chance? You can engage with them diplomatically and all what it is rightly said. Whatever you want to keep on doing all the talks, but keep your gunpowder dry. That is the only deterrent to China. China's intentions are clear, and two things happened very good in a way. Sorry to say that. It's a blessing in disguise, but I don't know what is the proper word. An unfortunate incident happened in Galwan that told the world what are the intentions of PLA. And this Sri Lanka episode told the world what are the intentions of CCP. And then Americans, because America has the force, America has the power, Pelosi's plane lands there. Kya kar paaye ye log? Then one more delegation lands there. Kya kar paaye ye log? This is the only rogue nation where the PLA and their mouthpiece, this Chanda Mama says, if Pelosi's plane will come, we'll shoot it down. This is the only country where there was a conversation between Xi Jinping and Biden. They leaked the extracts of that conversation where Xi is threatening Biden, don't play with the fire. The people who play with the fire get perished by it. Now, where is the firepower? Where is the firepower? Where has that firepower disappeared? They know the might of United States of America and they are auqat mein baithe hain. As long as we don't become strong, we can talk to them, but talks are going to lead no result. These people are up to deceit and treachery. We need, let there be no doubt. And even if we believe we can believe them, we are hurting ourselves. That is the reason. Absolutely. I think Prime Minister Modi and Dr. Jaishankar are very sane. We don't believe in that wolf-warrior diplomacy. We'll do what we are doing, and we are doing even as on date. We are soon going to give them a smartphone wala jetka, which will cost them $20 billion. I am really looking forward to that news, not these talks. These talks can happen, but they will really no result. These are niceties which you have in summits, but that's when I know your intention. Your intention is to burn down my house. There's no point of wasting my time.
Absolutely. That's a frank perspective that you have. It's a very vivid as well as a very intrepid perspective that you shared with us and our audiences, Sumit Peer. Sanjay Kapoor, talks have happened multiple times in the past, but the fact of the matter is that, it's a track record of China that they will do one thing and say another, say one thing and do another. The SCO is a platform which has been started by the Chinese, but so far, apart from tidbits here and there, there's not much for India that actually has worked out. And secondly, India has always been livid about the way China has supported Pakistan, even if we try to tell them in so many words that this is not something which is acceptable to India. China is never backing out of supporting Pakistan.
Yeah, relationship with India is very, very complicated. With the relationship with China is very complicated. And the truth is that, when we are analyzing China, we should not allow jingoism to take precedence over hard analysis. The fact of the matter is that even US, for that matter, despite whatever may say, goes out of the way to ensure that there is no confrontation beyond a point. I'm told that there is going to be a summit meeting between Xi Jinping and Biden also in the next month or so, in September. So similarly, I think dealing with China requires a lot of preparation. They have certain issues. If you look at it, our Prime Minister has not even mentioned the intrusion that has taken place. He could have said that. He did not. He realizes that it has to be handled with greater maturity, with greater wisdom. And you also remember the time when Prime Minister Modi met President Xi Jinping in Malhotra. There is a photograph where they were standing together. We have to figure out what went wrong thereafter. What is something that is causing this kind of distress? India has taken action, as our friend Sumit Peer has said. They have banned apps, they have banned many other telecom companies from getting into 5G, and the sum total of what they have banned is approximately 14,000 crores, which is substantial. And most of the Chinese companies are actually owned by either the PLA or the Chinese government. So the attack is direct on China as such. So China is cognizant that what India is trying to convey is that, look here, we will not settle for much of what you are doing. There is a conversation that may be taking place at the level of commander, but that is not going to yield any kind of result. I mean, there may be just moving little pieces here and there. What has broken down after 2018 is the trust between these two countries, and that cannot come together till the time China shows that really means something more than what they do. I mean, they have must be having a reason to amass 50, 60,000 troops here. India has boldly retaliated by putting the same number of troops, putting this armored division, putting a whole lot of hardware there, and trying to show China that, look here, we can look you in the eye and not be faced by it. Despite the fact that China is a superpower, it's a 13 trillion superpower. We are around $2.5 to $3 trillion power. And that in itself is a deterrent, because they probably would have greater staying power. They have far more cyber, their ability to have us elevate the cyber war far more. And there are many advantages they have. So India has to be very careful. They must have a conversation, because it's better to ensure that the peace at the border, and that is when our economy will grow. But we should look them in the eye and tell them that we are not going to face whatever they may do.
Good points there, Sanjay. Arvind Singh, your thoughts on this? Well, everything and anything that actually goes on between China and India is closely scrutinized by everyone. But, just to say that, it's a complicated relationship is going to be enough when our demands are put forth in front of China, because, the layers are so many that sometimes you don't know what to begin with.
Right. I suppose at the moment it's not confirmed from the Chinese side that the Chinese leader will be attending the meeting or not. But the most probably, if both the leaders they are meeting, then I suppose the India should, when the India will go for the dialogue with China, I suppose the India should raise the issue, not only the Galwan, but some other issues to which directly related to the Indian nation interest. But at the same time, I suppose the diplomacy is not always all about the secure the nation interest. Sometimes when we are not able to do it, then I suppose the diplomacy is to understand someone's fear, doubt and confusion. So when we shall try to utilize that opportunity to understand the Chinese confusion. I suppose we have paid enough cost to the enough cost of the friendship with USA, even in Iran. We cannot forget that what happened in Iran, and even so on a cost of, I suppose the India should follow a kind of free foreign policy and try to avail all the opportunities what we can go for the good relationship with China. I suppose both the countries should get rid of 1962, because I suppose what the foreign policy we are following, it's of the 20th century. Now we are in 21st century, so we should look forward. I suppose the borders and looking into the should not remain the only issue. The development should remain the another issue, and we shall try to find out that how we can get by the bilateral cooperation, we can go for the better the developing of both the nations. So we shall try to understand that thing also. And at the same time, I I personally feel that when you would go for putting the national interest towards. So I suppose the economic issues always it comes when the diplomats go for the bilateral relationship with China, and we have experienced the same in Sri Lanka. And because of some economic issues, the India could not invest in Sri Lanka, and now we can see that what is happening. So at the same time, we'll be more strong if we'll think about our own economic policy, and we shall try to what the Indian institutions are doing. At the same time, I feel that we are not having a good research work. What the foreign policy we put forward is only all about the experiences of the diplomats and their ideas. So at the same time, I suppose some academicians and the people who are related to so they should go for the good research work, and they should give feedback. Only in that conditions the Indian diplomat will move forward more.
All right,
strong.
Arvind, we've almost run out of time. I'm going to start taking closing comments from our panelists, starting with Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee. Ma'am.
Please.
Ambassador Mukherjee. Ma'am, are you there with us?
Yes.
Right, ma'am. Closing comments, ma'am.
So I just wanted to say that the Indian foreign policy is decided by Prime Minister Modi, that there is no jingoism. It's based on national interest. And if you have a neighbor who wants to do salami slicing of your territory, that is not a good time to discuss other issues. First, you have to protect your frontiers, your territory, your people, and your national interests. And that is what India's foreign policy since 2014 is all about. And definitely, I agree that we should be cool and calm if we have this meeting, if they ask for it, and we should use it to press our national interests in a manner in which Xi Jinping understands that 62 is long behind us. It's a different nation, and if there is a conflict on the line of actual control, it is not the India of 62 that will reply to China. Vineet.
All right, General Katoch.
Vineet, I don't think India is really, caught in the 62 scenario. We've outgrown that. The military and the political authority and the economics of it, we have far outgrown 62. That is out. I think what we need to do now and continue to do is to give a strong military message to China that any military misadventure will be very, very costly to the Chinese. That is one. On the economic side, no, you cannot carry out economics when they are at your door. It is out. So that message must continue, and we must disassociate ourselves over the next 3 to 5 years and reduce our dependence on Chinese imports by at least another 75%. Vineet.
All right, Sanjay Kapoor. Sanjay?
I think China worries a lot about our relationship with the West and membership of Quad, and that really gnaws them. So we need to ensure that our relationship is always, kept on good keel, and we don't really come under pressure of China or anybody else. We should continue to have a strategic autonomy and ensure that China gets a message that we have friends and they can always come to our help if we need them. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Arvind. Closing comments from you, and then we finish and wrap up with Sumit Peer.
Right. I suppose that we shall get rid of 1962 and we should move forward, and we shall try to follow the diplomacy what is in favor of both the countries. And I suppose that the development of both the countries should remain in a center when we are making a dialogue with China. Yeah.
All right, Sumit Peer.
Vineet, a couple of points to it. First of all, it's not the India of 62. Neither we have the political mindset which talks of building no roads to China is the only defense to China. We have built roads up to Pegongsu, and we don't give a damn to what Chinese do. We have recently put those armament vehicles and those boats and all. India is doing a mirror deployment and a much superior deployment at there. We have the air superiority over them, and this is exactly what Xi Jinping knows and fears. If he had the capability, agar uski auqat hoti na, aaj tak ghus ke aa gaya hota. What is he doing for last 2 years in Ladakh? That is PL and his troops will answer. I have only one thing to tell Vineet, because it is a different India of today. This India knows how to hit back. We give peace a talk. We went to Pakistan, we gave a talk, we gave peace a talk. But pehle baat, uske baad laat. That is the now what we do. If they don't, agar baat unhe samajh nahi aati, laat dekhne ki puri kshamta rakhte hain. This is what exactly they know and believe. And this is what Indian Army can do. We are a nuclear triad, sir, today. In which way we are inferior to China? China cannot take Taiwan because it cannot take it by force. China cannot come into India because we do not allow him to come by, because we have that army which can prevent that. As long as you have your army and diplomacy robust, and it's India of Modi, it's not India of Nehru. There's a hell of difference between the two, which even Xi Jinping understands and acknowledges. It's the Wangi who keeps on coming here for business. Dr. Jaishankar does not go there for business. And let me tell you, sir, after the semiconductor industry is on in next 3 years, we'll have $300 billion of electronics exports from India. That will hit the flagship industry of China, that is the Chinese, electronics industry. We are already hitting them on mobile phones. It's a matter of time. We are doing everything what we have to do. And if we talk of string of diamonds, we are militarily doing much better alliances. We are doing much things to protect our nationally and internationally.
All right, Sumit. All right. Good points there. Amazing points and unique perspective that was discussed today ahead of the SCO. Very important meeting between two leaders of, if you can say that, the free world.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.